Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignertechtips.com. Well, today we're looking at overlapping elements. This is another in our series of Divi for beginners. We'll show you how to overlap elements, like we've got 3 call to actions here that are overlapping the section above. Got an image there with another call to action overlapping it. And we've got 3 little call to actions down there just sitting on top of each other. Really easy to do, no coding involved in this. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. And I'm going to go down. I'm going to delete this row. And we'll delete this row. Let's just add a new row. Little green button to add a new row. I'm going to have 3 columns in mine. Obviously put as many or as few in yours as you want. I'm going to use a simple call to action module on mine, just to roll up a little bit. To make the button appear with a call to action, and the content, you'll always find a link. If we close this up, there's the link. The button's not going to show up till you put a link for it in there. And there it is, fantastic. Well, I'm just going to duplicate that, 2 little squares. I'm going to hit it twice to make 3 of them in total. I'm going to drag one more across, release it. I'm going to drag one more across and release it. Let's just move this row up above this other row. Okay, just so that you can see what's going on, I'm going to put a bit of background in this row here, and we're going to demonstrate the difference between margin and padding quickly. We always find background under content. Yeah, I'll just give it a purple background that's going to stand out. We'll give it a bit of space all around. In design, you'll find spacing. Now, padding is the space between the outside of the module, or in this case the row, and the elements within it, the 3 columns that are within it. So I'm going to put 30 pixels all around. I'm going to do the same for left and right. Just hit the chain, it'll do the opposites for you. So always think of padding a bit like bubble wrap. If you're sending a package to somebody and you don't want the contents damaged, you put a bit of bubble wrap to pad out the box and protect what's inside it. Whereas margin actually works on the outside of an element, whether it's the actual module within or the row itself. For instance, with margin, you can have negative values and move things up, down, left, right, however you want. You can't have negative values with padding. So if I was to give this negative perhaps 100 pixels, it would move it up over our section above. So we've got margin up the top here. Remember, we're on the whole row. If I give that negative 100 px, it'll put in the px for you. You can see that row is actually now crossed over and it's on top of the section above. And you can do elements within the row too. For instance, if I save that, I go into this middle one, go over to design there. Spacing is always where you'll find margin and padding. If I give that negative, let's say, well, we'll give it negative 100 again. It's jumped it up. And you see these design features quite a lot on a lot of websites. And it's using simple margin to resize this. Now, of course, you want to check these out on tablet and mobile because sometimes they're not going to work. To check it out on the devices, hit your little purple button here. On the left-hand side, we're on desktop at the moment. You can flip it. And the actual row itself works there, but the modules within are not working. So on the laptop, we can readjust this one by going into the module that we brought up there. Go back down to our spacing under the Design tab. Roll up over. This is common to all Divi modules. If you roll up over the dark writing within a module, you see some little icons appear. Go to the thing you want to affect, margin in my case. There's a little mobile phone type icon there. Make sure you're on tablet view, we are. I can bring that back down to 0. And that's now working again on tablet. And if we click on the phone, those are all fine on the phone. Great, well let's go back to desktop. Just one thing to remember when you're positioning things, make sure they work on all devices. Great. Well, let's add another little row. We've got another example here. I'm going to add a row. I'm going to put 2 columns in it this time. In the first one, I'm going to put an image. And that's the one I used before. We'll use that one again. Let's roll this up a bit. I'm going to have mine pop out into a light box. Just underneath is a link opening light box. And with an image module, it's going to show you the name when you roll over it. If you don't want to see that, go to the advanced, down to attributes. There it is. You can get rid of it if you don't want to see anything. Gone. Fantastic. Okay, in my next column, I'll use a little call to action again. And I'll quickly put a link in for a button. And I want these to overlap, sort of left and right, but I still want them to be a bit central. So this one's got to cross over this way, and this one's got to cross over this way. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go into this row and change the gutters so there's no space in between these things. Go into the row, the green tab, design, sizing, use custom gutter width. I take that down to 0. As you can see, they're both touching there. Fantastic. I'm going to make them both a similar size. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to give our row a little bit more space top and bottom so it's got a bit of breathing room. So in design, I'm going to close up sizing. I'm just going to give it some padding top and bottom. Just put it in 100. It'll put in the pixels for you. And I'll use the same on the bottom. Got a bit of space there. Great. Let's go into this module. I'm going to make it the same size as my image there. By doing exactly the same thing, I'm going to go to design, spacing, padding top and bottom. Let's try adding 50. And I'll do the same for the bottom. And let's just increment up till they're about the same size. Okay, well now I want to overlap these two. So I'm going to push this down by perhaps 50. I'll use margin at the top to do that. It's great. But I want it to cross over on top of this one right here as well. So I'm going to put some negative margin on the left. And you may think you know what's going to happen, but it may surprise you. So negative 50, it puts in the pics. It's pulled it over, but it's actually stretched it. It's still actually starting from the same place over here, just got 50 pics wider. If you want to keep the aspect ratio of it, go to the right hand side and put the same amount of positive margin in there. And it'd be exactly the same size as it was. Now, if we were to take that down to perhaps 25 and 25, to keep these things in the middle, we could now go into this one, do exactly the same thing. Well, not exactly the same thing, the exact opposite, in fact. If I pull this over here, go to design, spacing. On the right, I'm going to put negative 25 this time. And you see it's made it bigger, but I don't want it to be bigger. So I'll put regular 25 on the left-hand side. And there we have it. That's kept those nice and central. There's the center line right there. And again, if you want to, check it out on tablet. So if we look on tablet, yeah, they're just a little bit wonky there. You'd have to do exactly the same thing. We'll just go in there, go to the design, spacing, and just remove our margins there. And they'll be back central again. Do exactly the same with the module below. And they're fine. And if you go to mobile, it should inherit it from the tablet version. That's exactly what it's done there. Great. So there's a little overview of how to overlap and stack your elements using a bit of negative margin. Really handy little thing to know, really easy to do. Let's just save our changes here and exit the Visual Builder. And if we roll on down, there's the first one, there's the second one. Down here, I've got 3 elements that have overlapped. And if I hover over one, it's going to appear on top of the other one. Hover over this one, it'll appear on top of that one. Hover over this one, it'll appear on top of that one. In our next video, I'll show you how to do that using the Z index to pull objects on top of each other. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.